If you want to know what the future looks like, you usually ask an engineer, or maybe a writer of hard science fiction, someone obsessed with orbital mechanics or microchips. You do not usually ask a librarian. But in the 1940s, an Argentine librarian named Jorge Luis Borges published a collection of short stories called Ficciones. Borges was completely blind by his mid-50s. He didn't write traditional novels. Instead, he wrote dense, philosophical thought experiments disguised as fantasy. On the surface, these are stories about cursed farm boys and imaginary planets. Yet these narratives accurately mapped the mechanics of our modern era, from quantum physics to cognitive neuroscience to the architecture of the internet. In the very first story, an encyclopedist discovers a fictional planet called Tlön, where the inhabitants hold a specific, terrifying maxim: mirrors and copulation are abominable because they multiply the numbers of mankind. This terror of multiplication acts as the operating law of Ficciones. Reading the collection as a literal encyclopedia reveals the hidden rules governing our present day. Take the story of Ireneo Funes. After a severe fall from a horse, a teenage boy is cursed with an infallible, infinite memory. He remembers the exact shape of every cloud he has ever seen, every leaf on every tree, and the precise temperature of every moment of his life. According to neuroscientist Rodrigo Quiroga, Funes' condition highlights how the human brain actually functions by showing what happens when it breaks. Because Funes remembers every distinct microscopic detail, he is entirely incapable of abstract thought. To think, a brain requires the ability to forget. We must ignore the tiny, chaotic differences between things to group them into useful categories. Without forgetting, cognition freezes under the weight of raw data. Quiroga points out that this is the environment of the modern cyberworld. We consume an endless, undigested stream of emails, news alerts, and images coming at us relentlessly. The internet has forced us into the mind of Funes. By bombarding ourselves with infinite, highly specific data points, we lose the ability to generalize, reflect, and actually understand the universe around us. That problem of infinite data scales up to the structure of reality itself in Borges' story The Library of Babel, which imagines the entire cosmos as a repository of books. This library is constructed of an infinite series of hexagonal galleries. The books inside contain no deliberate meaning. Instead, they hold every possible random combination of 22 letters, the period, the comma, and the space. This architecture mirrors structuralist philosophy, illustrating that reality and human knowledge are constructed by endlessly combining a finite set of basic elements. Academics like Claude Lévi-Strauss recognize this system of signs as the foundation for how meaning is generated across all cultures. Borges pushes this further in Pierre Menard, author of the Quixote. Here, a 20th century Frenchman rewrites Don Quixote word for word. Even though the text is identical to the original, the meaning changes because the historical context has shifted. Between the library and Menard, Borges diagnosed the era of AI language models. This creates a growing, dizzying web of parallel, divergent, and intersecting realities. Borges's conceit operates on the same logic as the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, arriving 16 years before physicist Hugh Everett III formally proposed that our universe constantly splits into parallel realities. Today, this forking logic is the default structural paradigm of 21st century media, from video game choice mechanics to multiverse cinema. Borges broke the illusion of linear time, revealing that modern existence involves navigating simultaneous, overlapping possibilities. Borges distills his worldview in The Lottery in Babylon, describing a society where every aspect of life, wealth, punishment, and status, is dictated by a secret, all-encompassing lottery. The lottery represents the inescapable and permanent interpolation of chaos and chance into the deeply ordered systems of the modern world. Borges presents fiction as a specialized instrument, using human imagination to simulate the effects of total chaos on organized society. Long before we had the processing power to map the brain or calculate quantum states, Borges used human imagination to map the consequences of those breakthroughs. The overwhelming complexity and data-driven chaos of our world is an articulation of Borges's vision. We are living inside the pages of Ficciones.